Hello, this is Business Now, reaching you live from iBrandTV news studios in Lagos, Nigeria. Coming up, Russia-Ukraine war frightens investors from oil and gas industry, rattles commodity market. Nigeria Customs Service seizes smuggled items worth 587 million naira. Kenya makes history as cheapest country to purchase diesel in East Africa. A price increase in the U.S. pushes the annual inflation rate up 7.9%. Hello again, I'm Michael Nath, and I will begin Business Now from Russia, looking at the impact of the ongoing crisis on the state of the economy and business activities across the globe. Now, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries says the war between Russia and Ukraine has frightened investors from the oil and gas industry and also rattled commodity markets. Speaking at the Nigeria Energy Forum, OPEC Secretary General Sanusi Bakindo noted that the war has had adverse effects on the energy market and also resulted in high levels of volatility. Bakindo recalled that what the pandemic has taught OPEC is the value of taking a prudent approach to oil supply and demand developments, but with the flexibility to adapt its strategies as and when needed, ultimately for the well-being of the global community. Bakindo assured the body would continue to hold monthly ministerial meetings to regularly review market conditions and take things step by step to ensure the rebalancing process is sound as we seek a sustainable stability for all. Bakindo, however, condemned the recent calls for investments in new oil and gas projects to be discontinued, particularly in the context of discussions around net zero targets. Now, the U.S., along with the European Union and a group of 7 countries, will move to revoke most favored nation trade status for Russia over its invasion of Ukraine. That's according to a source familiar with the matter who spoke on the condition of anonymity to preview the announcement. The person said each country would have to follow its own national processes. Stripping most favored nation status from Russia would allow the U.S. and allies to impose higher tariffs on some Russian imports, increasing the isolation of the Russian economy in retaliation for the invasion. The move comes as bipartisan pressure has been building in Washington to revoke what is formally known as permanent normal trade relations with Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky pressed the U.S. and allies to take action against Russia in remarks to Congress over the weekend. It follows days after Biden moved to ban imports of Russian oil and gas products. Meanwhile, the United States government has announced an additional donation of $53 million as humanitarian assistance to support innocent civilians affected by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This was revealed by Vice President Kamala Harris on Thursday during her trip to Warsaw, Poland. The funds will be provided through the U.S. Agency for International Development. And in a statement by the White House, the $53 million is in addition to the nearly $54 million earlier announced, aimed at providing critically needed health supplies, food assistance, high thermal blankets, and other reliefs. Still on the economic impact of the Russia-Ukraine war, the International Monetary Fund warns Nigeria and other African countries are vulnerable to higher food and fuel prices, low tourism revenues, and difficulty accessing the international capital market as a result of the war going on in Ukraine. The managing director, IMF, Ms. Kristalina Georgieva, disclosed this after meeting with African ministers of finance, African Central Bank governors, and representatives from the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa to discuss the impact of the crisis in Ukraine. She said, quote, "The war in Ukraine is devastating the lives of millions of people and severely affecting the Ukrainian economy. The war and the unprecedented sanctions imposed on Russia are having far-reaching consequences. They come at a delicate time for Africa. Just as the global economy and the continent are beginning to recover from the ravages of the COVID-19 pandemic, this new crisis threatens to undo some of that process. Now, she, however, promised the fund is ready to help any African countries address the repercussions of the war in terms of designing and implementing reforms through its policy advice, capacity development, and lending. End of quote. Now, the federal government on Thursday called on the United States government to support Nigeria with funds to develop Nigeria's natural gas resources so as to serve as an alternative source of energy for Europe. It made the call on the heels of the war by Russia in Ukraine, which posed a threat and disruption of gas supplies from Russia to the entire Europe. The Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Timi Presilva, disclosed this while speaking at a meeting with the U.S. Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, on the sidelines of the ongoing Sarah Week in Houston, Texas. Silva said the collaboration between the U.S. and Nigeria in this area would be of immense benefit to both countries, as well as the entire globe. He was quoted in a statement issued by his media aide, Horatius Igua, saying, "It is in the interests of the global community that there is an alternative supply of gas to Europe." Silva therefore called on the U.S. to provide the needed funding for infrastructure for the exploitation of the huge natural gas resource in Nigeria. Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, has advised the federal government to place a ban on the exportation of maize. Dangote said the ban has become necessary in order to ensure food security in the country in the face of the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, which poses serious challenges for global food supply. This was made known by Dangote while speaking at the 4th annual Nigerian Food Processors and Nutrition Leadership Forum on Thursday in Lagos. The forum was organized by the Aliko Dangote Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and TechnoServe under the Strengthening African Processes of Fortified Foods program. Dangote acknowledged that the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine would lead to scarcity of food, arising from the inability to access fertilizer. Now, similarly, Aliko Dangote said he also has acknowledged the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war would be felt in food production. He said that Russia and Ukraine were the number 1 and 5 in wheat production, accounting for 1/3 of global wheat production, adding that there would be a shortage of wheat, maize, and urea in the global market. Russia and Ukraine produced about 13% of urea, 26% of potash, and one of the largest producers of phosphate globally. Dangote pointed out that its ripple effect would be felt in the next 2 to 3 months in the country. He therefore called on stakeholders to engage with the federal government to come up with likely solutions that would help reduce the impact of the supply chain in the country. Now, Qatar Airways has announced the launch of 4 weekly flights to Kano and 3 weekly flights to Port Harcourt. According to the airline, these flights will connect to both locations through Abuja. In a statement, the airline said Qatar Airways will operate the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport as one of the fastest growing cities in the country and a gateway to Kano's rich historical treasures that have survived millennia. The group chief executive Qatar Airways, Akbar Al-Baka, said, quote, "This is a defining moment for Qatar Airways, with Nigeria becoming our most connected market in Africa with the launch of our new services to Kano and Port Harcourt," end of quote. Now, investors gained a 41.44 billion naira on Thursday at the end of trading on the floor of the Nigerian Exchange Limited. The market capitalization of the equities listed on the NGX rose to 25.52 trillion naira on Thursday from 25.48 trillion naira on Wednesday. The NGX All-Share Index also rose to 47,363.98 basis points from 47,287.09 basis points. 21 companies recorded gains at the end of the trading on Thursday, while 20 companies recorded losses. A total of 261.56 million shares valued at 4.48 billion naira were traded by investors in 4,672 deals. The Nigeria Customs Service Federal Operations Unit, Zone A, Lagos State, has seized smuggled items including rice, petrol, frozen poultry products, among others, in February 2022. The acting controller of Federation or Federal Operations Unit Zone A, Hussein Ejibono, who confirmed the development, said the duty paid value of the seized items was over 587 million naira. Ejibono said the Southwest Zone had become hot for smugglers to operate freely in recent times, adding that the fight against smuggling activities should be a collaborative effort. Now, the trade volume between Nigeria and Korea hit the $2 billion mark in 2021, rising by about 50%. The Republic of Korea ambassador to Nigeria, Kim Yong-chie, who disclosed this in Abuja yesterday, challenged Nigerian companies to study the market needs of the Republic to produce what is needed and a standard required. The ambassador said there is enough potential to further increase the trade if Nigerian companies prioritize the study of the standards and specifications of what is needed in Korea, especially agricultural products. The diplomat also hinted that the diplomatic relationship between Nigeria and Korea has improved significantly, which has now been extended to the exchange of military personnel between the two countries. A Nigerian creative has lamented the lack of raw materials to work with Nigeria. Now, Cassandra Mbachu, a CEO, Racing Bikers, a creative art business that focuses on using resins to create beautiful products, said this while speaking earlier on iBrandTV's Business Breakfast show.
When I did my research, I did everything I needed to do. Then I found out that buying the materials here in Nigeria nobody was. So it was like, God, what am I going to do? So I went on Amazon, I did research, I got the materials, I told a friend, please help me, get this material, then send it over to me. And basically, so the material is not being produced here, the raw material is not produced here in Nigeria. Is really challenging.
But if there are saps from trees, don't we have trees where we can get the sap from?
Here in Nigeria, it's going to...
Still to come, global stocks slump on surging inflation. Details and more business news after this break. Stay with us.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiviv Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemivy family.
You're watching Business Now on iBrandTV Lagos. To Africa scene now. Prices of crude palm oil have jumped by 33% due to the Ukrainian crisis. Our sector players initiate efforts to urge the government to contain a further rise in cooking oils. Manufacturers of cooking oil are now buying palm oil, the main raw material, at between $100 or $1,760 per metric ton and $1,980 per metric ton after the escalation of Ukraine-Russia conflicts last month. Before the conflict, the commodity retailed at $1,490 per ton, having more than doubled from $700 per ton before the onset of the pandemic in March 2020. The price jump, driven by the pandemic, was attributed to export restrictions by Indonesia. Now, diesel prices in Kenya are the lowest in Eastern Africa in the wake of the monthly subsidy, reversing the market structure that made the country's fuel the most costly in the region. A litre of the commodity costs 112.63 shillings on average in Kenya, compared to 118.44 shillings and 139.08 shillings and 149.91 shillings in 3 of the 6 East African community countries, Tanzania, Uganda, and Burundi, respectively. This bucks a trend where Kenya has had the costliest super petrol and diesel in the region, mainly due to relatively high taxes and levies, which encourage local motorists in border towns to fuel in the neighboring countries. The shift in the market structure is linked to the introduction of monthly subsidies in Kenya, which cut the current diesel prices by 23.29 shillings a litre. Foreign scene now. Price increases in the U.S. continued to surge last month, pushing the annual inflation rate up 7.9%. That's the biggest year-on-year leap since 1982, and up from the 7.5% rate reported in January. Rising costs for energy, food, and shelter drove the gains, which are squeezing household incomes. President Joe Biden and central bank officials are under pressure to rein in the increases, which have proven more persistent than many expected. The Federal Reserve, the U.S. central bank, is widely expected to raise interest rates at its meeting this month. Now, Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced the release of a refreshed UK national shipbuilding strategy, laying out plans for a £4 billion government investment, which includes money for shipyard infrastructure and green ship design. The much anticipated release firmly supports the development of the UK's shipbuilding industry and helps businesses invest for the long term, ramping up productivity and launch apprenticeship programs. Currently, the UK structures or constructs complex naval vessels and research vessels, and this plan will help the nation innovate and grow. The importance of this capability is underlined by tragic events in Ukraine, which demonstrates Britain requires the resilience to be able to defend itself as an island nation, as well as support our allies around the globe. Oil prices rose on Friday, but we're on track for their biggest weekly declines since November, after seesawing on fears of escalating bans on Russian oil versus efforts to bring more supply to market from other major producers. Brent crude futures climbed $2.48 or 2.27% to $111.81 a barrel at 0747 GMT, after dropping 1.6% in the previous session. U.S. West Texas Intermediate (WTI) crude futures were up $2 or 1.89% to $108.02 a barrel, following a 2.5% decline on Thursday. Asian shares extended the global slump on Friday after the fastest U.S. inflation rate in 4 decades bolstered expectations for more aggressive rate hikes, with Chinese equity markets recovered early losses on regulatory assurance over U.S.-listed mainland firms. Now, sentiment also suffered on worries over Russia's war against Ukraine after talks between their foreign ministers on Thursday brought little respite in the conflict between the two countries. Carmel added Russia's war against Ukraine was likely to make everything from energy and metals to agricultural goods a lot more expensive. We go on a break, and when we return for more news updates, we have Perpetua.
True unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour gotten from the processing of unripe plantain. It contains no addictive and has a net content of 500 grams. True unripe plantain flour contains vitamin A, B6 and C. It is gluten-free and rich in calcium. Consuming True unripe plantain flour helps to build and strengthen stronger bones and can be a great meal for diabetic patients. It decreases your chances of constipation as it has a high fiber content and provides you with a low-fat diet. Here are some steps to prepare your True unripe plantain flour. Firstly, mix True unripe plantain flour with hot water in a pot and gradually add water till you achieve desired thickness. Place over medium heat and turn very well for 4 to 5 minutes to get the right texture. Mold into a ball and place in a bowl and allow to cool. Serve with your choice of soup. True unripe plantain flour can be eaten with any variety of soup, be it your ofe oha, ofe onugbu, gbegiri, ewedu, or your miyan kuka. To get your True unripe plantain flour, contact us at 12 Olowera Isheri Road by First Welder bus stop off Omole Phase 2, Olowera, Lagos, Nigeria, or call 070-6663-8213 or 081-6397-4447. Distributors are needed nationwide.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery. Ooh.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
fufu is so nice.
It's through unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare, fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores nationwide.
Mama, you're coming to Lagos. Banga. Baby, Mama just called me now. She's coming to see you. She asked me to tell you to make banga soup for her. And she's close to the house. Oh.
How do you expect me to prepare banga in just few minutes?
I have a solution for you.
Really?
If you no sabi cook the banga, you no go enter my family.
Pali banga is used in making other exotic dishes such as banga jollof rice, banga efo riro, banga asaro or yam porridge, banga egusi, and many more. Pali banga is easy to open, no preservatives, no cholesterol, and no coloring. Approved by NAFDAC. Manufactured by Pali Agro Products Limited. Available in all leading stores and supermarkets nationwide.
Pali banga, natural palm fruit extracts for tasty African cuisine.